everything was documented. My team had clear roles, and I was able to take 4 whole months off without my business skipping a beat. Hello, and welcome back to the Blissful Mompreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Hall, and I'm so grateful you're tuning in today. In both 2019 and 2022, I baby-proofed my small business so it could not only run without me, but to thrive without me, allowing me to take 2 precious 4-month maternity leaves with my babies. Those moments were made possible by the team and systems I built, and now I'm on a mission to help you create the same freedom in your life. Imagine this. You're holding your newborn, and you're completely present in the moment. You're not sneaking glances at your phone, stressing over emails, or wondering if a client payment went through. Your business is running, your team is handling things, and you, yes, you are fully unplugged, enjoying your well-deserved maternity leave. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if I told you it's not just possible, it's doable in the next few months? I know what you're thinking. Christina, that sounds amazing, but I can barely go through my to-do list as it is. How am I supposed to set my business up to run without me? First, take a deep breath. You're not alone in this. If you're a pregnant business owner juggling all the things, client work, email, social media, payroll, hiring, planning, and trying to find a minute to sit down, you're probably feeling stretched too thin, exhausted, maybe even a little panicked at the idea of stepping away. And I get it because I was you. With my first pregnancy, I had 0 systems in place. My business depended entirely on me, which meant taking time off felt impossible. I didn't even know where to start. By the time I had my second baby, everything had changed. Everything was documented. My team had clear roles, and I was able to take 4 whole months off without my business skipping a beat. And this wasn't by accident. It happened because I built systems that allowed my business to run smoothly without me. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. A simple step-by-step guide to systemizing your business so you can take time off without worrying about everything falling apart. We're going to talk about what systems are, where to start, how to delegate, and how to use automation to buy back your time. And don't worry, I'll break it all down in a way that feels doable and not overwhelming. You do not have to do it all yourself. You just need the right systems in place to make your business work for you, not the other way around. All right, so let's start from the beginning. What exactly is a system? At its core, a system is just a repeatable way of doing something. It could be as simple as a checklist for onboarding new clients, or a detailed step-by-step process for handling customer service requests. Think of it like a recipe. If you wanted to bake a cake, you wouldn't just throw random ingredients together and hope it turns out okay. You'd follow a recipe, one that tells you exactly what to do step by step. So you get a delicious, predictable result every time. Now apply that thinking to your business. When you have clear systems, tasks get done the same way every time, no matter who's doing them. That means less stress, fewer mistakes, and a business that doesn't rely entirely on you to function. I learned this the hard way. During my first pregnancy, I was the system. If a student needed to reschedule, I handled it. If an invoice wasn't paid, I sent the reminder. If someone had a concern, I had to pick up the phone and deal with it. It was exhausting. And every time I thought about taking time off, I panicked because if I wasn't there, who would handle everything? That's when I realized I need systems and a team to carry out those systems. So I made a change. I started documenting everything, every recurring task, every little thing I was doing on autopilot. I created checklists, email templates, and step-by-step instructions for my team. I stored everything in our project management system, Asana, so that all the materials, spreadsheets, and logins were in one place. And my team started handling tasks without me. It was so liberating. All right, now that we've covered why systems are essential, let's talk about where to start. Because if you're anything like I was, you're probably looking at your business thinking, everything depends on me. Where do I even begin? So take a deep breath. You don't need to systemize everything overnight. You just have to get started. And the best way to start is to focus on the tasks that will give you back the most time. All right, I want you to imagine your business as a freeway. When everything flows smoothly, you're cruising along stress-free. But when you're the only one who knows how to do certain tasks, there becomes a traffic jam. Everything slows down or stops completely when you're not available. This is what it's like when you're the one doing everything. So your first step is figuring out what tasks you can hand off. So try asking yourself these questions. Which tasks can I hand off with minimal effort? Which tasks do I not enjoy? Which tasks could be handled better by someone else? For me, one of my biggest bottlenecks was conducting sales calls. Anytime someone inquired about lessons, I was the only one gathering their information and pairing them with the best teacher. I was really dedicated to responding in a timely manner, which made my days unpredictable. I knew that I didn't want to continue doing this during my maternity leave, so I began the process of systemizing and delegating this task. I recorded myself conducting sales calls and shared them with my admins. I created a phone script which included the questions I ask and answers to frequently asked questions. I scheduled meetings with my admins where we role-played sales calls to get them used to the process. And then once all this was in place, I let them take the reins. And I did this months in advance of my leave. That was so we could continue to test and refine the system. Now, the entire process runs without me. We are constantly welcoming new students without any input from me. Knowing that this system was set and running seamlessly before leave was such a relief. When starting to determine which tasks you want to hand off, think about these big tasks and start to explore who can handle this and how you can create a system around it so that they can be successful. Next, consider prioritizing recurring or time-consuming tasks. If a task happens regularly in your business, it's a great candidate for systemization, especially if it is something that eats up your time every week. Here are some areas that most small business owners can benefit from systemizing right away. And that's client onboarding and offboarding, payment and invoicing, customer support, marketing and content creation, and the list goes on and on. Think about which of these applies to your business and which ones feel like the biggest time drains, because those are the best things to hand off first. Now, another great thing to try is use the one-touch rule. One of the best mindset shifts I made was using this one-touch rule. If you do something more than once, it should have a system. For example, if you're answering the same client questions over and over, instead of typing out a new response every time, you could write the response once, save it, and then use it the next time. Now, you may think, well, it really doesn't take me too long to draft this response, and it would take me more time to create the FAQ page and save it, and overall, it may just seem like it's not worth the time. But trust me, it is. I know it takes some extra time up front, but I promise you it will save you time and frustration in the future. And just think, if someone else starts responding to these customer questions and they have the exact response that you would write, now they're answering in the way that you would. It's almost like you're duplicating yourself. All right, so hopefully as I talked through all of that, you started thinking of tasks that you want to start systemizing and then handing off. So make a list of 3 to 5 tasks you do repeatedly that could be systemized and write them down. And then rank them by how often they happen, how much time they take, and how stressful they are. Once you have your list, pick just one to start with. And I like to start with the ones that are the most time consuming, because to me, if I can hand off something that's really time consuming, then that is going to free up a lot of my time to focus on other areas of the business. All right, now that you've identified some tasks that you want to systemize, I'm going to give you some tips on how to create these systems in a way that your team can easily follow them. So my first tip is keep it simple, stupid, the KISS method. So when I first started creating systems, I would fall into the trap of overcomplicating things in an effort to account for everything. So I would be like, in this situation, do this, but then if this happens, do that. But I began to realize that the systems that worked the best were the ones that were the most simple. As you're creating the system, always ask yourself the question, how can I simplify it to make this easier? Now, you don't want to take this too far, right? You still want to make sure everything is included. And another important piece to include is having a clear intention for the task. This is where you explain how the task fits into the bigger picture. When your team member has this information, it changes the way in which they carry out the task. Because they can see it as not just one tiny task, but how it connects to all the other aspects of the business. You also want to include all the tools needed to complete, such as websites, programs, logins, passwords, spreadsheets, whatever you would need to complete the task. You want to make sure that's documented as well. And then make sure you include every step they need to take. Then at the end, I like to include a keys to success section. And this is where I might include those contingencies if abnormal things happen. Another tip when creating systems is choose the right format for your systems. So not all systems need to necessarily be written down. Here are a few ways you can document your systems that aren't formal SOPs. So you could have checklists, and these are great for tasks with multiple steps. You could do screen recordings. This is really great when you're trying to show someone how to use a particular software. I personally use the program Vidyard to record my screen, and then I can just talk as I'm doing the task. And other things that you can include are templates and scripts. These are really, really great for anything involving communication. And the last tip is make your systems foolproof with the grandma test. So a great system should be so clear that someone with zero prior experience could follow it. And I call that the grandma test. If your grandma who has never worked in your business could step in and get it done just by following your system, you've nailed it. All right. And once you have your first system documented, hand it over to a team member. Let them do it and then check their work. If they completed it perfectly, great. If they had questions or there were mistakes, just refine it and make it more clear. All right, now it's time for you to take action. Choose one task from your systemization list and document the process. Remember, you can use checklists, make a video, or create a template, or write a script, whatever makes the most sense for that particular task. Keep it simple, clear, and easy to follow. And if possible, test it with someone who isn't you and refine as needed. And there you have it. Now you have all the information you need to begin systemizing your business and handing off responsibilities so your business can run without you. And if it feels overwhelming, just take one step at a time. Remember, you don't have to do this overnight. So I'd love to hear from you. If you've already started implementing, DM me on Instagram at the Blissful Mompreneur and let me know one system that you've put in place and how it's helped your business run more smoothly. And if you haven't put a system in place just yet, DM me and let me know which one you're planning on putting in place. I'll check in with you and see how it's going and if you've made progress. And if you're pregnant and planning for maternity leave, don't forget to grab my free 6-step maternity leave planning guide. It covers everything from how much time to take off to creating a financial plan. And you'll find the link to this guide in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a fellow mompreneur who might benefit from the advice. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and leave a comment below letting me know your biggest takeaway. It helps me reach more amazing women just like you. Thank you again for being here, and until next time, keep pursuing your bliss.